So this is the network architecture for our model. Here you can see that we have used different types of layer according to their features. Namely, you can see that initially we have called the model as sequential. So as we are creating the sequential model, after that we have called a conv 2D layer with a filter size 8, with number of filters 8 and a filter size of 3 by 3. So a conv 2D layer, it is used to create a convolutional kernel that is convolved with the input layer to produce the output tensor. Here you can see that we have put the padding as same, and input shape is the shape of the images. So here you can see the shape of the images 224 by 224 by 3. So after that we are using a max pooling layer. So it is a downsampling technique which takes out the maximum value over the window defined by pool size. So the pool size here we have defined is as 3 by 3. Similarly, we are repeating the conv 2D max pooling for 2 more times. After that, you can see that we are adding a flatten layer. So a flatten layer, what it does, it flattens the input and creates a 1D output, which is required for the dense layer after that. So a dense layer, it produces the output as the dot product of the input and the kernel. Here you can see that we are using 32 neurons for the first dense layer, and after that we are creating the final layer. And in the last layer you can see that we are using softmax as the activation function because it is a multi-class classification problem. After that, in the end, we are printing out the summary of this model. So let's run this cell and find out the summary of our model that we have created. So here you can see it shows us that our model is sequential. It shows out the parameters that will be used, that will be trained. It shows us different layers that we have used, and in the end you can see that there are 338,038 total parameters that will be trained. So after that we will compile the model, and while compiling the model we need to set the type of the loss, which will be categorical cross entropy for this case. Along with that, we need to set the optimizer, which we are taking as Adam with a learning rate of 0.0005, and we are taking the metrics that we will measure, that we will visualize as accuracy. So let's run this cell and compile our model. So after the compilation, the main step is to fit the model. So fitting the model with the data and finding out the accuracy at each epoch, how our model is learning, we need to run this command. So now we are training our model on 50 epochs and a batch size of 128, as you can see here. You can try for more number of epochs to increase the accuracy, but here we can see that the model has already reached a very high accuracy, so we don't need to run it for more. During each epoch, we can see how the model is performed by viewing the training and validation accuracy. So let's run this fit command and see the accuracy. So while this is running, let me tell you about epochs and batch size. So if you increase the number of epochs, the accuracy increases, but overfitting also increases if you see that the accuracy of the training data and the validation accuracy have a very high difference. That is, accuracy of the training data is low and the validation accuracy is very high. It means that model is getting overfitted. And in order to remove overfitting from our model, we use regularization and dropouts. We add regularization and dropouts. So here you can see that we reached an accuracy of 98.85 and a validation accuracy of 0.9077. So you can remove the overfitting you see here using the dropouts or regularization. Let's move forward. So now we will save the model in the H5 format because we will be using it later for prediction. Let's run this and save our model. So model is saved in our drive as we have set the drive here. Next we will plot the training history. So the training history is, it contains the history of the model, the accuracy, validation accuracy, and all other things like loss and validation loss. So here you can see that we are plotting the accuracy and the validation accuracy around each epoch. So let's run this and visualize it. So this is the model accuracy. Here you can see the training accuracy in the red line and the validation accuracy as the blue line. This is good if you want to understand how training is done, how our model was learning. You can visualize that from here. So now we will see how we can plot the loss for the model for the training history. So here you can see that we are using history loss and history validation loss, and we will plot it against epochs. So let's run this cell and see the history of the losses. So here you can see this is the graph for the model loss. The red line shows the training loss and the blue line shows the validation loss. So next we will evaluate the model to know the accuracy of the model on the test data. So for that we will use model.evaluate and we will pass the x-test and y-test data, and after that we will print the accuracy. Let's run this cell and find out the accuracy on the. So here you can see that the accuracy is 87.11, and as I have already told you, you can hyper tune this model changing different hyperparameters and to reach a higher accuracy. So next we will store the predictions of the test data in ypred. So we are passing all the test data, that is x-test, in model.predict, and we are saving the predictions in ypred. Let's run this cell and save our predictions. So after saving our predictions, next thing is we will try to visualize one of the image which we will further use for prediction. So this is a random image taken from x-test, that is 6th image, and we will try to visualize it. After that further we will use it for prediction. So here you can see this is the image that we are going to use, that we are going to predict. So here what we are doing, we are creating a list of labels using the object of label binarizer we used above, and we will print that list. And finally, as you can see here, we have written two print commands in which one will print the original label and the other will print the predicted label using the argmax function. So let's run this cell and find out the predictions. So here you can see that these are the labels of different classes, and originally this image that we visualized above is an American goldfinch, and it is predicted as American goldfinch. So our model is working absolutely fine, absolutely correct. So with this we came to an end of this project. So we started with loading the dataset into Google Colab using Google Drive, and we visualized the images that we will be working on. Normalizing the data is an important step, irrelevant of whether we are working with any type of dataset. We have to do normalization. After that, we created a CNN model which is further used for predicting the bird species using the image supplied to the model. So this project, it can be used for educational purposes and to get a better understanding of how to create a network architecture for a CNN model. You can further hyperparameter tune this model to reach a higher accuracy. One of the use of this model can be that it can be used by bird sanctuaries to identify different types of birds. Next, I will show you how you can create an application, a Flask application, for this bird species prediction. So let's move forward.